So, thanks for joining me, Sophie. We'll make it. I mean, I suppose because this is recorded, it'll be a little bit harder maybe to go into a bit of detail. But honestly, ask any questions during the period, the presentation, obviously. And obviously, you've got Bret, who is our king with regard to the ability for us as salespeople to kind of bend where we can. We've got a great relationship, which is the kind of key thing at Landbay with regard to the salespeople and the underwriters, because the underwriters essentially want to do the same as us. We want to be able to kind of talk to you about a deal and obviously carry it through and make sure that the conversion is really, really kind of high, because obviously that benefits us as a lender and obviously benefits you as a broker. Kind of making sure that we're both not wasting time essentially to kind of do the case. And I've just realised you've got the strange version. Which one can you see?
You can see the one you've amended that we talked about earlier.
I'm on the lower page, or can you see that now?
That's service and benefits, yeah.
Oh, right, okay. So I'll try this. But you're getting this page, unfortunately. So I'll stop. Sorry about this, Sophie. We do know what we're doing. So I'm just going to go through it this way, if you don't mind. So the service and benefits, the big thing at Landbay, as I say, is the kind of relationship we've got with the underwriting team, and that is a big thing. And as I said before, it makes a real difference to actually have that kind of communication line open. All the BDMs themselves have got the experience as well. So I think based on where you are, Wiltshire, I think you're either covered by Alex or Beth. And again, both have been with previous lenders that kind of specialise in the stuff we do at Landbay, which is the limited company, the HMO stuff. As I said, we're looking for a way to lend. I've said all that, and I didn't have the right screen up. The other good thing as well, we've got a telephone team. So obviously BDMs are there to help kind of new cases and existing cases. The underwriting team, because you obviously get the direct access to the underwriters as well, they can kind of liaise. But if you want quick kind of questions, then obviously the telephone support team that we have is very efficient as well. Average wait time of no more than 25 seconds. I think currently we're running about 9 seconds, and we've had one of the busiest months we've ever had in January 2022. So I think that obviously February started really well as well. So I think that's a good kind of sign that we're going to continue to make sure that the telephone calls are answered proficiently. The help desk, if you've got kind of quick, quirky questions, can then refer you on to the BDMs or if need be the underwriters, because again, the telephone support are obviously supported by the underwriters as well. We have some exciting plans as well for Q2, hopefully a little bit earlier as well, where we're launching our own platform. Our platform at the moment, which is what this is all based on, is fairly clunky, but it's obviously kind of user-friendly if you're using it in the right way. Obviously, the relationship you have with the BDMs or support from the BDMs or the telephone team will allow you to make sure that you get the best out of the system, and hopefully this will give you a little flavour of the kind of things they look at as well. Okay. So, first thing to do with us is register. It's the easiest process in the world. Essentially, the registration process is put your email details down there, your contact details, OpenWorks, your FCA number or FRN number, and then you're up and running literally in 20 minutes, 30 minutes. The benefit then is you get links to the webinars we do. We send you criteria updates, kind of updates in regard to products. We don't bombard you with stuff though, so it's really kind of key in regard to the stuff we do. We do lots of educational stuff. So last week or the week before, we had a great interview with our managing director for who's an economist himself. He had the chief economist from the Times on. I don't know whether he was a chief economist, but he's one of the economists at the Times newspaper, that is. So when you start an application, because obviously we're very competitive with pricing, so you'll see us kind of relatively nicely placed on there. And I've just realised we've got more than just a couple of people on the call today. So I've seen we've got some questions as well. I'll review them shortly. We have, I've lost my train of thought as well. we basically, the system we use does a dip and then a full application. The benefit of the dip with many lenders is that the dip is a soft footprint. The benefit also with the dip is the fact that there isn't much information we need to actually get to that stage. It does ask you for a few details about the property, but that's obviously only to kind of gather together what product you're actually looking for as well. Once you submit and refer it to a full application, that DIP will sit there for 30 days. You can then refer onto the new application, which then puts a hard footprint on the application form. Now, what's a little bit quirky, which will be functional in the new system as well, is the fact that we are a little bit more, hopefully, tech advanced than many lenders in our field, because we want to carry on that journey in regards to making things smoother for the brokers to actually submit cases, and obviously smoother for us to actually make them go from application to offer and completion sooner. So the system is kind of everything we do, and IT is obviously everything we do. In that regard, we send the application form to the clients to sign, so there's then no kind of wet signatures needed throughout the process until obviously they sign their guarantees or whatever it is at the completion stages they need to sign. So the only signature we need from the client is when the application form is emailed to them. So what is key with that, the email has to be correct on the submission on the application form. It's key to making sure that it goes over to the client. At that stage, the clients also get the application portal to pay the admin fee, because usually there's an admin fee of £150 on an application form. They also get the choice to pay the valuation at that point, or hold the valuation until the underwriting is done as well. The income details and portfolio details, you can go into great detail if you wish to on the application form, but you don't have to. So the system, if you have the interaction with the BDM, will kind of put you down the direction of, you can put the portfolio details on if you want, but really you're better not putting the portfolio details of the existing properties the client has on this system. You're better using what we call our buy-to-let hub. And the buy-to-let hub is a third-party system that many lenders in our space use, that generates and brings together all the properties. But the benefit with that is we do that for you. We've got a relationship with eTech, who are the buy-to-let hub, and you send us the spreadsheet for the portfolio, we can send it off to them and they will upload it onto the system for us. Another recent enhancement as well, again with regard to kind of keeping efficiency in the process, is that we do e-direct debits. Again, your client's email has to be correct, so that the email will go to the landlords, the directors on the application, for them to sign digitally their direct debit. The other good thing, application-wise, all the documents you'll ever need are online. We've got a great kind of Ask Assistant tool as well with regard to criteria. So if you'd prefer, if you're doing it late at night, attached, there's a kind of interactive artificial intelligence type kind of assistant tool with regard to criteria that kind of takes you through the questions and brings up the relevant questions and answers specific to your criteria. Although I would say many of the BDMs do pick up the phones well after 5 o'clock, including myself. So on the application portal, you've got things like the criteria and products which you'd expect. You've also got data capture form, which is obviously key, and that mirrors exactly what questions you're going to be asked for on the application form. You also have solicitors panel, and we've got a good solicitors panel, but we are making a few tweaks to the solicitors panel, because solicitors are an ever-changing beast. So do maybe speak to your BDMs about solicitor panel at the moment, or solicitor choice. We can use one solicitor, we can also use 2 solicitors, but obviously we do get more joy if there's one solicitor acting for both parties rather than 2 solicitors, because it does become a little bit more bureaucratic if there are 2 solicitors on an application form. We have interesting things like gifted deposit forms, which lenders kind of seem to want to avoid. We have the portfolio template, business plan templates. We also have some deposit form, the limited company deposit form, which for some reason I missed, but so I was going to mention it. The limited company deposit form, we're really kind of, we'll put these forms online to make it easier for the underwriters, but also to make it easier when it comes to kind of post offer, because completion, this is where the solicitors can ask questions that may be relevant to the transaction, but if the forms that we ask for up front have been completed correctly, then it irons out any issues we've got post offer, which is really kind of beneficial to both yourself and us. Underwriting interaction, I'm going to let Bret kind of go through this, because obviously Bret leads the team, and kind of he knows kind of where the power of this kind of function lies.
Thanks, Ian. So my name's Bret, and I look after the underwriting team here at Landbay. One of the things we pride ourselves on is the interaction that you will have with the underwriting team. So it's not just, you won't have to speak just to the phone team. What I say to the team themselves is that when they pick up one of your cases, and this is whether it's from a DIP referral through to your full mortgage application, that if there's a referral on the DIP, the underwriters will always make initial contact to say why it's referred and relay that any decisions to you or ask any further information. But the same happens at full application as well. What we do say is that the underwriters pick the phone up to the brokers and have a chat with them, as it's often just to introduce themselves as your underwriter, and you will deal with that individual throughout the whole process up until post-offer, at which point it would switch over to our completion team. So you always know who you're dealing with. And the only time you deal with a different underwriter is if we let that underwriter have some time off, which if we're busy, we don't do very often. But yeah, so the underwriter understands the case then. So you're only dealing with that individual. They get the case from the outset. They know what's going on. They know everything about the case. So you shouldn't have to reiterate any points too often. And that dictates a lot of documentation requirements, especially if we're dealing with customers who are been with Landbay before. We try to make the journey and the process as smooth as possible, not just for the applicant, but for you as brokers as well, to make sure that you do get the best possible experience and bits and pieces sell through. The underwriters, as I said, they will always email you directly. It will always come direct from them. It won't come from any main inbox like a mortgage inbox. So you'll have the underwriter's personal email, and on their email signature, we always ask that they have their direct dials there as well. So you can just pick the phone up and speak to them. Now, obviously, there will be times when they might be in the middle of something and they can't talk to you, but we try to make sure that they do get that personal experience and they say, right, we'll give you a call back as soon as they can. So that we try to make sure you do have that personal touch with the underwriters and that you have direct access at all times. With regards to documentation for cases for full mortgage applications, so as I said, the underwriter should give you a call once they've looked at the case itself. And I think, as Ian alluded to earlier, with regards to the system, you can upload all of the documents via the system, by the portal. And when you do upload them, the underwriter gets an automatic email to say you have uploaded them to the portal. So they know a document is there to be looked at. Our general turnaround time for new applications and looking at post, whether that be new documents or valuations, we try to work to a 48-hour SLA. DIP referrals tends to be the same, but in all honesty, most DIPs are reviewed and you get a response in a matter of hours, and definitely the same day.
I'm going to butt in there as well because I think that's relevant. Obviously, because you do have the direct email addresses from the underwriters, one thing that used to bug me with lenders I used to work for previously, the underwriter maybe asks a question, and then you obviously provide the information and the answers to that question. You then go back into the 2-day delay. Normally, if the underwriter's still working on that deal and emailing or calling, it makes a real difference to kind of ironing out that issue straight away. And I think Bret's team are great with doing that.
Yeah, thanks, Ian. And they will do, especially if they're dealing with a case straight away. If you give them the information, they'll deal with it there and then. They won't put it back into the queue to wait. So we do pride ourselves on that interaction, which I think not only helps you, but it helps the likes of Ian's team as well, because they know it's going to be dealt with quickly for you and there and then. So some of the documentation, the standard documentation that we kind of ask for in general is the ID, normal passport, driving license type of stuff, proof of residence, again, bank statements, utility bills. If we can verify it via things like the credit search, we will do that as well. So whilst these are the standard documentation, if we do have a credit search pass and there's AML passes and things like that, we won't ask for further information. So we try to avoid asking for as much information as we possibly can to make the journey smooth. Income-wise, as you can see, normal sort of stuff, pay slips for employed, self-employed, looking at the SA302 and the overviews, plus accounts. What I would say is if you've got an application where you've got 2, 3, 4 applicants, if the first applicant or even any of the applicants meet our criteria, we try to just ask for the income for those individuals, so you don't have to always send it in for every single applicant. So we try to make the journey, as I said, smooth, without having to send and upload too much information to us. We ask for the bank statements as well, and that's just obviously to correlate anything with regards to things like the income, but also showing rental deposits and mortgage payments. That kind of leads into the e-tech that Ian has mentioned. So one of our requirements is that we look to see rental deposits and mortgage payments, but if you've got a large portfolio landlord, if everything is okay and the portfolio passes via e-tech, we wouldn't look to prove every single payment or every single rental amount. We'd take a sense check and we'd ask for a certain percentage of that, depending on the size of the portfolio. But as I said, looking at you've got direct access to the underwriters, so you can upload any documentation via the portal. You can email the underwriter. And each application that you submit to Landbay, that has its unique email address as well. So as you can see, it would be the account number and then @cases.landbay.co.uk. And you could, as I said, you can email that and send documents direct to that. If you do email the case address, what I would say is that you do copy your underwriter in directly as well, because we don't always get a notification if you just email the case. So it's good to email the underwriter as well, because then they know something is incoming and there's something for them to look at. And there's a document download on the dashboard. So that's where it makes it easier to download it, and the underwriters get the notification that you've uploaded or downloaded the document straight away. And then they know to get working on that as soon as they get to it.
So the only thing I'd probably add is that on that document download section where you do download the documents to send to us, it then also stores the documents you do download to us, so you can obviously refer back. That also then holds the application forms, the illustrations, that obviously are relevant to the case, and that's on the dashboard section of the website, of the application portal. Yeah. Again, the new system looks incredible, and I think will kind of speed up lots of these things, although the kind of post documentation download and the ability to go back is obviously very relevant today for the portal as well.
Yeah, I think actually one thing I think one of the questions about the style of underwriting, Ian, so going back to the underwriters having direct access, our underwriting is very manual. Now, obviously, we do have system-led decisions, but that's kind of around the hard stops. So things like if you can select products and bits and pieces like maximum age, they're kind of hard stops in the system. But other than that, it is a very manual process, the underwriting side of things. So each underwriter will look at a case on its own merit. So it's not a system says yes, a system says no type of underwriting style. It is very manual. And the team amongst them, they do have a lot of experience to underwrite in that way.
But obviously our support with the pre-application as well, where the BDMs all have a good relationship with the underwriters to be able to work out whether we can or can't do that deal. So it kind of supports it from start to end, I would hope. And then bring it to a close. I think I just want to advertise a few things that are obviously hot topics at the moment. And then obviously what I wanted to do is review probably the more detailed stuff. So obviously today we tried to give a little kind of fresh overview. Next week, we're going to look at limited companies, and we're going to look at the complex element of limited companies. The following week, we're going to look at day one refinance, the ability to kind of draw money back out of a property that maybe has been refurbished. And we're going to look at some kind of case studies and relevance to kind of what does work, and obviously those that try it on and don't work because they've painted the walls white and they think the property price has increased by a substantial amount. Sorry for that in the corner. We've got some HMOs and multi-units, and we're going to talk about the fact we go up to 12. We use investment valuations. We're going to talk about trading companies because we offer a limited company range for SPV limited companies, but we also offer a range that is catered to trading limited companies, whether that's a holding company, whether it's a car mechanics, a dentist. I've had an inquiry about this morning, and the broker's not stopped ringing me since. And then portfolio landlords as well. And I think the kind of way that maybe that differentiates itself from a kind of landlord that's only got one or two, and obviously how we treat a portfolio landlord, and to a certain degree, treat them exactly the same way as a client that's got one or two. We ask a few more questions with regard to the background, but obviously there are fewer lenders in the market space that cater for portfolio landlords, and we can discuss the fact that we love a large portfolio because we've got a specific portfolio team that's headed up by another great underwriter that I've worked with for many years from other lenders I've worked for in the past, that is kind of very on board with the same kind of philosophy as myself and Bret in regard to doing a case and making it work, and obviously doing it if it makes sense. So the good things we do as well, some active things at the moment, is that we're very behind the changes in the market, in the environment to kind of make everything more greener and more environmentally friendly. And obviously on board with that, we've got green product ranges. Obviously we know in January 2022 that the government are going to bring in, January 2025 I should say, they're going to bring in requirements for the landlords to have an A to C rated buy-to-let. And we'll try and bring that into one of the talks maybe in the next few weeks. We're very we're trying to encourage this, so therefore you will get a 10 basis point reduction. So typical example, 2.94 5-year fixed rate against our standard core range, where our standard core range is 3.04. You will benefit by 10 basis points, which is a big saving just for having an A to C property. The big thing with that, we now include new builds. The majority, would you believe, of lenders out there, to be fair, us at the start, we're only offering A to C green EPC products for non-new builds. But obviously, as we know, the new builds are the ones that are actually carrying the EPC ratings from A to C. So therefore, it excluded a large portion of the market. But obviously, we're now allowing that, which is great news. We've got first-time landlord HMOs and multi-units as well, at 70%. So caters for those landlords that are searching maybe for yield over capital growth. And obviously, the first thing they look at is the yields that you can potentially obtain for the right HMO or the right multi-unit. We offer first-time landlord HMOs. 5-year fixed rates, I mentioned the 2.94, but we do have one as low as 2.84, and that's for the smaller landlords, the clients that have got 3 in the background. We have tracker products as well, which have no ERCs, and our small portfolio range, because of the 2.84 rate, again, one of the lowest 5-year fixed rates in the market, is selling really well. The other benefit as well with a 2.84 5-year fixed rate, which I didn't mention then, is the fact that that's at pay rate as well. So those large loan sizes really make a difference with a lower pay rate. And if you have a look online, you'll find that we'll do 80% at 750, which is pretty generous, but we'll also do 1.5 million at 75%. And Bret's been known to do a few larger than 1.5 million at 75% as well for the right case. So that's about it for today. Hopefully you find it kind of relatively interesting. It's like a teaser for the next sessions. If you can join us in the next session, I'd be really grateful. Obviously try and get registered in the meantime as well. Prepare your questions for the next session, which comes up next week on limited company, simple and complex. Thanks for listening. Any questions?
Yeah. Is anyone has any questions for our presenters?
I think there'll be more questions on the next sessions.
Yeah, I think so.
I think so.
Nitty-gritty.
If there isn't any questions, I will leave in the chat the registration page for our next session. If you want to just click and register for our next session, you'll be more than welcome.
So we've just had one come in, Ben, a question about minimum income requirement for buy-to-let application. Cameron wants to talk to ask something as well. Okay.
Go ahead, Bret. Yeah.
I'll quickly answer Stuart's question that's come in. So we have a minimum income requirement at the moment of 25,000 for individuals. But if we can see that they do have an experience in the background from buy-to-lets for like 2 years, and we can see on their tax returns they've had rental income, we can consider lowering that to around 15,000. But that's obviously for the right applications. But yeah, so it's looking at 25 for no experience, 15 for experience. And
the salesperson in the room will say something as well. It's combined income of £25,000 as well.
Yes, I should
individual income.
It is combined, yes. Sorry.
Hi, Cameron. Cameron, do you want to ask a question? Or you just waving?
Oh, yeah, it's fine. No, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
So, Cody, if you asked the question, I think you was on mute at the time. You may have asked the question, so we didn't get the question.
No, it's fine. It's okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's a question as well with regard to the higher LTVs, especially as bad credit, manual underwriting, etc. I'll answer that one. I don't know whether it's the broker is still on. We're not known, unfortunately, for our adverse. We're quite tight with adverse because we've got some good products obviously out there in the market. We are looking at several things in the background in regard to adverse. The benefit is we do have a soft footprint dip. But obviously, it's best to refer your BDM or to your BDM with regard to what type of adverse we do accept. It's normally kind of 2 in 24 months, kind of 1 in the last 12 months. CCJs and defaults in regard to utilities and communications. If satisfied, it might be worth referring to your BDM, but we generally don't accept any kind of CCJs or defaults. In fact, we don't accept any CCJs or defaults when it comes to credit finance with banks or credit card companies, etc. And obviously, Bret mentioned it is a manual underwriting process. The LTV is obviously 80% as well. But we have LTVs down from 65% up to 80%. And you never know what might happen soon. Okay. Thanks for listening. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.